The other identity that, especially a lot of childhood abuse or trauma people live with is the identity. And I did this for many years and didn't even really fully realize it that um, I identified as I'm a childhood abuse survivor. And I still say that, but then it was definitely my identity.
Mm.
And everything that I thought about was around that.
So like
The
you
way
looked at the
I
world through that prism.
totally, totally. And it was
How did that look
100%
like?
a victim mindset, totally victim mindset. And I've mentioned this before, and it's so, I don't have shame around it anymore. I'm not proud of this, but the way I used to think, and it was definitely, I want to say in the back of my mind, it was the thing that motivated me. It wasn't in the forefront of my mind where I remember processing it per se, but I definitely went into, especially if someone was beginning to kind of mistreat me or not be nice. I definitely had this thought in my head, well, they're supposed to be nice to me because I'm a childhood abuse victim. I was abused as a child. So, I went through all this suffering. So everybody has to be nice to me now. I mean, that was 100%.
You have like because my life is worse than theirs, or I am more hurt than they are.
No, that never came into play. It was
Okay.
just, no, I've had all this suffering and I've had all this abuse. And this is really in my young adult
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
Um, that I just thought, okay, now it's time for everybody to be nice to me. I'm tired of everybody being mean. I want people to be
Mm.
nice to me. That's really what it was. That's the first time that
Were
kind of
were
came
you
out.
nice to others?
No, because I was a hot mess because I was in the
Yeah.
victim mindset. So remember, when you're in the victim mindset that I was in, I did nothing wrong.
Oh yeah.
Everybody else was wrong,
But
and
like
I
this
was being picked on.
this is a good example of our external world being mirrored to our internal world.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
And
if
I felt like I was only going to be happy or comfortable or complete once everybody started being nice to me. But I would mistreat people and not hold myself accountable at all. Well, if I wouldn't have done that if you would have just da
isn't
da
that
da
like
da.
ironic how we do that?
I know, and it was just, and I know, like I think back, and like one of the things that kind of fueled that with me is in my childhood I was constantly criticized. So I couldn't even
Mm,
take criticism. I couldn't even take constructive criticism. And I
yeah.
can remember back in my early, work years of my employer trying to just sit down and nicely tell me some things that needed to be corrected. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, they're being so mean. They're being so mean. Like I remember like leaning back in my chair going, oh my God, they're being so mean. They're saying this mean stuff about me. No, they were just trying to help me. But I was so in that. I mean, I think I was like 20, 21 at the time. And so and I had my abuse until I was 18 when I stopped the physical abuse.
Mhm.
Um, but I just was that was so I could not even take constructive criticism because I was never given constructive criticism as a child. It was, you should have known. How could you do that?
Yeah, it was
Nobody
more like
teaching me and then
yeah.
criticizing me for making the poor choice. So you could see why my mindset was so stuck in that mode. And it kind of diluted over time, but it wasn't until I really took a deep dive into myself about 13 years ago and really started looking at myself. And I think the thing that propelled me in that area was finally realizing that I had no control over anybody else or anything. I only had
Mm.
control over myself. And it was frustrating, and I was angry, and I was empowered, and I was relieved all at once. It was all the emotions I went through. And it was then that I realized, okay, so I can control this. I can't control that. So how do I control this? And that's what brought me in to start looking at myself and healing very deeply.